Okay. I'm gonna say if you're eating lukewarm yogurt in class, you're gonna have to leave. I'm just gonna just flat out say it right now. Uh, I figure it's the least I can do for the program. What's going on? It's great. It's fine. Just
Wait, maybe click show more.
I think it's gonna give me
Oh, nope, doesn't matter.
then. I don't have choices. If you don't let me choose, then don't give me the option. Like we don't need to go through this.
Did you do a plane project?
I haven't had a chance to choose a project yet. We are currently trying to just open up the actual Unreal Editor.
It takes so long though.
Thankfully, today is the one day that we'll have to deal with this, and we'll have to deal with it when we switch to a first-person game. Because we're all going to have fun sitting here while our shaders load here in a minute in the new project.
I'm gonna turn my phone on.
All right, here we go. Cool. So, if you are new to Unreal, once again, when you go and launch your editor, you're going to pop up here to your project browser. In the first one it says recent projects. I have never gotten enough projects to make it through to having more than just recent. It's always here, so I count this more as all projects versus recent. I'm sure at some point in my life I will actually have enough that it will move to that, but it's going to be a while. So for this, you can set up your starting project. So for games, if you're like, hey, I'm going to do something cool in the film and video or something architectural. I've played briefly with automotive, but super briefly because it didn't do what I wanted it to do, or it probably did, but I just didn't know how to get it there. And then simulations. So surprise, surprise. Hopefully this doesn't shock anybody too much. We're going to choose games.
Whoa.
I know. And then wait, hold on, even more. We're going third person. Just that was just huge, I know. Make sure that you select Blueprint instead of C++. So make sure Blueprint's checked. Once again, we're not going to cover C++ in class. We're just going to do Blueprints. Target platform should be desktop. I usually have it at maximum for quality because I hope that the laptop's powerful enough to run it. We'll find out together. And then I would recommend having starter content selected. This gives us some cool stuff like chairs and doors and at least some materials that we're going to use. So there's some stuff that we'll use in this. I'm just going to call my project GIMM 397 third person in class. Why not? And then we're going to all hit create. And I'll see you in a couple hours. As we go, when you start a Unity project, when you start any project in any engine, although I don't know if Godot does this, so I can't speak for all, but at least for Unity and Unreal, the first time that you start a project, it doesn't matter what you're doing, is forever going to be the longest time you will ever have opening. Is it a Godot thing as well?
I think Godot project fits on a floppy disk. Yeah.
Like it's fairly quick.
I need to play with Godot.
So it usually there's usually not that much in the environments in the Godot project, so it starts up fast.
So maybe we'll need to add a Godot special topics class. Because I have nothing better to do, figure out another gaming system. So at least for Unreal, we're gonna have the biggest problem with Unreal is the compiling the shaders. And for some reason, it thinks that I need to have over 10,000 shaders at start. I promise it. I don't need that many, but it believes that we do. This is at least going a lot faster than my home desktop, which means I really need to update my home desktop. But it's 8 years old, so it is about time. Just a reminder, class-wise, if you bring a skateboard into class, I'm perfectly good with that, but if you could not have it in the walkway, but in a hidden spot, I'll turn my back for whoever's, it is to run and at least get it, so I don't trip on it.
Yeah, just like keep it out. Does the same go for like a bag of marbles?
No, bag of marbles are perfectly fine. Thumbtacks are highly encouraged.
D4s maybe?
Yeah, I mean, we have literal cables running across the floor in the lab with potholes throughout, so I can't really say much for certain things. We're getting there. Who is still over like 8,000 shaders till that?
I'm at 5,000.
I'm at 6,000.
I just passed 8,000.
You just passed 8,000. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there.
I'm loaded.
6,900.
You're loaded.
I did it on battery too.
You can go. You can leave the closer now.
See how thin this is?
Like, and then mine, and I'm 7,000 away.
Yeah, but anytime you like it. Connor and I is the same time.
Oh damn, that's really good. Mine was 2,300. But mine was new and bigger. I got
Size, I don't know.
Size does matter when it comes to
Yeah, thankfully I didn't pay for this one, so I'm okay with how slow it goes. Yeah, the laptop that I bought when I started GIMM, so that's like, how long was that? That was first cohort, or second, 3, 7, 9 years old. It just died this last summer. So I have a bad habit of when I buy a computer, it's spend 5,000. That way it's not, well, and I run them in the ground, but they last like 6 to 8 years. It's still getting pretty well. So.
Well, no. Actually, I did.
Oh, we're getting there. I'm at 15. Anybody still over 7?
I'm at 3,000.
3's good. In the 6s, the 5s.
I'm in the 5s, but I went from 41% to 42.
Yeah, I'm surprised that it's loading this fast for me, considering that I'm doing this loading this onto our disk drive.
Oh,
My baby.
flip those 1s and 0s. Flip them as fast as possible.
You started yours after mine. You're ahead of me.
Don't blame a man for his hardware.
I had mine on the driver.
Probably. Is anybody over 6,000 shaders still waiting for? Oh. Ready to give us
Your video is just gonna be like 15 minutes of this over.
Okay, at least I didn't have the video be
Downloading.
the downloading.
It's gonna be an hour of just waiting.
just like finish. Amazing. Yeah, if you have to watch this video, for everybody who's watching this video, so you didn't make spot text, I hope you fast forward to this point. If you didn't, that's an on you thing.
Now, this is when you include a little piece of secret content that if they miss, they don't get credit for the class. That's a great idea.
They just wanted to be part
I had
of
a few teachers who did that, and I wanted to cry.
See, the only reason I don't do stuff like that, like I've thought about hiding stuff in the syllabus,
Yeah.
but the moment someone finds it, then they tell everybody else about it.
Yeah. Did you see this thing?
You know, oh my gosh, did you see the hidden thing in there? So,
Well,
well, yeah, we still could be an Easter egg, but yeah, I guess it would just be nothing.
All right, it's loaded.
That's when you offer a reward for like the people who discover it. So that they say it's like limited. So they go.
It's gotta be like the first person that gets it.
Yeah.
But then it'll get out that I do that, and then everybody's gonna read my syllabus, which I mean it's probably not the worst thing in the world, but
Imagine how much time you can waste then.
true. It's not like my syllabi are short.
I would actually help.
Exactly. Exactly the point that I just hate to make. Okay. Who is still waiting for theirs to go? 1, 2, 3, 4. Here, get a couple.
Feel free to start without me. I'm not 100%.
We're waiting just another couple minutes to get as many people as possible in.
So, I don't know. Are we winning or not? I'm not sure.
It's okay. Well, I'm gonna wait about 2 minutes, and the first part of this is just gonna be kind of probably a refresher for everyone. But we're gonna just start here anyway. Just crash your computer. All right, who's still waiting? Perfect. We're close enough. We're close enough for this point, and hopefully by the time we get to the rest, we will be at a good spot. Okay. So, if you have never started up Unreal before, welcome to the Unreal Editor. It probably looks familiar to Unity in a few different ways, but of course, it's not. Probably. So we have our scene here. This is where, I need to steal a mouse because I'm not doing this with a keyboard and a trackpad. Yes, actually that is the correct response, and it is true. It's annoying enough with the mouse.
I saw that years ago. I trusted you. Go behind my back and do this.
Ha ha ha, no one ever saw that happening. Okay. So we've got our main scene. This is where you're going to be building everything. That's going to be visual for the most part. We have our outliner. So obviously, if you're used to Unity, this is the same thing as the inspector. This is where we can, actually more hierarchy than inspector. We have access to the things in the scene. And then the inspector is more the details. We have a world settings. We'll use it a little bit, but not too much. The one big thing with Unreal that takes a while, it still takes me a while, is the amount of stuff they hide in menus that are checkboxes. So you can be like, "Dude, this should work," and like it doesn't work. So it's because you need to go find a checkbox somewhere. And then knowing what that checkbox is sometimes rough. So case in point, so you can enter your play mode by hitting play. Usually it'll then click into the screen. Now you have access to it. You have WASD built-in controls with the jump and the space bar. But so we've got our blue squares here that we can move around, right? Great, that's cool. If you want to not leave on your play mode, but you want your mouse back, if you hit Shift F1, yeah. Why? Of course, it's not working on this laptop. That's great. It's not going to work on this one. That's just the way my life is at the moment. But that is the way that you would get back to getting mouse control. Escape is going to pop you out of it. So we've got So if we click on one of the cubes that we were able to interact with, in our details, we've got a whole bunch of different things that are attached to it. So we've got just general stuff. We've got the actor. So if this is an actual actor, which I guess it technically is, we've got level of display or detail. We've just got miscellaneous random shit. We have physics. We're rendering, streaming, and then if you want to be crazy and look at everything at once, you can do that as well. But if I don't want that block to be able to move, you need to know that you go into physics, unclick the simulate physics, and now if we pop back in, I can't do anything with the box. Or turn it back on if you want to change the weight of it. There's lots of different things that we can do with it from there. So a lot of stuff can be found there. The trick is just learning what it is that you're looking for. When we're building in our scene, we have a lot of different things that we can do. We have different perspectives that we're looking at it from. We can choose how it's lit. I at least recommend not clicking reflections unless your computer is strong enough and is not going to freak out. Mine at home, which is my powerful desktop, which yes is older, cried a little bit when I clicked that on because it made every surface a mirror, but only in the editor, not when I actually went in. So, which I'm not sure the benefit of that. And then you have the ability to show different things, right? So if we want to look and see the colliders, now we can see what actually has a collider on it. You'll see that just popped out. So show collision. Now everything that's got a collider is wrapped into the collider mesh, which can be really helpful, and we'll dig into that in a minute. I'm going to turn it off for the moment. You've got your selecting objects, your moving, translating, rotating, and scaling, or you have the same aspects of it through, I cannot see. I don't know why the cursor turned to crosshairs on this one, but it did. That's sort of okay. Where is it? This is going to drive me nuts. There we go. So we can change it through W sets it to translating it. E gets our rotations. R allows us to scale. We also have the ability to set how things are moving in the environment. So if we want to freeform how we're moving things or scaling or rotating, we want to turn these ones off. Now this would allow us to just move it free form. But if we wanted to scale by, we'll just go to 1 because that's crazy. Oh my gosh. Now it's going to go by chunks of 1. So if you know that you want to make sure that you're scaling things at a certain scale, you're able to dial that in and have it be there. Same thing with rotations. This is set to 10 degrees. We can set it to whatever you want it to be in there. And snapping to the grid as we move it around the environment.
Sean just found a pretty interesting level that it's like a shader.
Yeah, is there, in the starter content folder, do you have a good starter map?
Starter concept folder. Inner maps.
Yeah, starter map should be just like it's like a bunch of material swatches and like VFX.
Oh, that's cool. Nice.
I didn't end up with the actual one that I made, but.
So the nice thing, once again, with the starter content is we're able to start with some different things, right? So if we want some basic particles. We have access to some basic particles, so we can now add a fire to our environment really quick and easy. If we want to add some extra smoke to that we can do. I'm going to remove those just because they're going to take up. Kai, do you know why it would actually not be showing my mouse? I mean, it moves it to that, but actually I can't see that on my monitor. So it's great.
That is just what it looks like.
It's just what it is.
That's
So-
just what it is, yeah.
Is it there too? Okay. It's just not actually showing up on my screen here. It's fabulous. Okay. Welcome to Unreal.
But you're from the OBS to just hide it after.
It should be okay with OBS. Maybe it is an OBS thing, but it should be, is what it is. All right. So we also have textures and materials. One of the things that you'll notice as you begin working with Unreal more and more is that Unreal has its own kind of acronyms, I guess might be the best way of putting it. There are abbreviations and naming conventions. So for materials, as you see here, all of the materials start with an M underscore. So that's the convention we'll be using. Particles, P underscore. Surprise, surprise. Textures, T underscore. Shock. Static meshes are an SM. Blueprints are a BP. Skeletal meshes, though, are an SK instead of an SM. I'm not sure, which makes sense, but is what it is. So if we go to our materials and we scroll through, we can make, we've got, let's see, a nice wood floor. We can just drag that onto our cube. Now we have a nice wooden soccer ball that's a cube, technically, because we can kick that thing around like a soccer ball. We have our player starts, which is going to be where our player actually starts. It's gameplay at, surprise, surprise. If this was a multiplayer game, which we're not going to get to, you would want a player start for each one of the players, and then it's going to actually randomly decide which one you start at. The players, we're just doing single players here, so that's doesn't worry about it, but we're going to do that. And once again, you have a bunch of different props that we have access to with the starter pack. But not everything comes as you might expect. So if we have our static mesh chair, which we can see here, pretty cool. If we go to show, come on, and collision, we can see the collider that's around the chair, which is great. But if we drag a door into the scene, there isn't a collider on there. So I can't interact with the chair other than it stopping me, but this is how powerful of a mage I am. I can walk through doors. Last time I checked, this is not really how doors work. Really not even truly how windows work, although it is. I've had plenty of friends walk through glass pane windows. So this technically is more possible. So we need to be able to fix that, right? Because that is not necessarily what we want. And so if we go to our outliner, we'll have SM door selected. We can right click on it and edit it, which is now going to open it up in its very own private editing area. For that, all we want to do to add a collider to it is click on the collision dropdown. And for this, we just need an add box simplified. We don't need anything crazy to this, right? I mean, we could be super weird and put a sphere collider on it, I guess, but I don't need a door and a hamster ball. But if that is your end goal, door and a hamster ball, there you go. So now that we've got that, it's going to show it outlined in green. We need to remember to save it because now we've made changes to the asset. We can close this now. And when we look at the door, now you actually have the colliders on it, you can see. And when we go into the game, that is more how doors work. Although this one's not openable, but that's another day down the road. All right. For easy duplication, if you're like, I want lots of doors, doors are my favorite thing. I know, right? It's amazing. If you go to one of the translates, and you go to whichever one and you hold Alt and then drag off, you just make more and more doors. I can't see it. Now I've got lots of doors, which makes it really nice and quick and easy. Questions so far? Is everybody like, yeah, I already know all this? Please, please, please.
It's a good refresher.
Good. All right. Let us go ahead. And at this point, we are going to into our content folder. I'm going to at least close starter content just so it's not as crazy. I'm going to right click on the content folder. I'm going to add a new folder and call it house. So now we've got our character's house levels. House should be empty if we have it selected. And we come up to the top nav bar and we click on the down arrow next to the cube with a plus. This is how you add things. So we're going to import. This is where you would, hey, I want a new cube. I want a sphere. Some cinematics, some crazy stuff, visual effects. We're not there at the moment. We want to import content. Then you're going to click on the house and hit OK because that's where we want to put it to. And then you're going to want to search for your farmhouse under source. Hopefully you unzipped house 5 times. And we want to just go ahead and select the 2, hit open. If all goes according to plan, ha ha ha. When we hit import, and then import again because it doesn't believe you the first time. And then they're going to ask you to do it again because we will eventually end up with the house that we downloaded into our content browser.
They can also drag and drop. Like if you have like the file open, like the file explorer open on your desktop, you can just drag it into the content browser.
Yep, good point. So if we drag the farmhouse into our scene, look how on its side and small it is. So we're going to want to, I'm going to actually do this through the general just to make sure it's going to go. We're going to rotate on the X. We're going to set it to 90. That's cool. For mine, yeah, no, it didn't. So now we have this really cool little house that doesn't have any textures on it. So if you drag the siding to it, it will eventually throw the siding on. I'm actually going to turn the collision off because I don't need to see those lines. And if we drag roof to it, then we're going to get the roofs. All right. Now we've got and we need, I think it's this one. There we go. And then farmhouse D1. Nice blue stairs, because that's the color all farmhouses paint their stairs, just in case you were wondering. But amazingly, if we play it, I don't know. I mean, it depends upon the vibe you're going for. Maybe like horror, big aliens taking over the town. Size might be right.
Yeah.
What was it?
Going through like a scale, like toy thing.
Right.
Go over
Aliens
scale.
versus monsters, whatever you're going for. Right. For us, we're not going to go with that. So what we want to do is, oh, the doors are going to go away. Promise you that. Those are going to go away soon. We're going to go ahead and increase the scale of it. We can click here to lock the scale. Not 210, just 20. And then that's a much better house size. All right, so we're going to start actually making our game at this point. So what we want to do is we're going to clear most of this stuff out of the scene. So we're in block 1, delete, block 2, delete, block 3, delete, cylinder, delete. The cubes in the playground, delete those. Oops, too much. We want not the floor to go away. So we want 2 through 6 can go away. We're going to remove the chair, the cubes, the doors, the cylinders, the ramp, all the way down. Oh, we can take the text renderer out too. So all we should be left with is an SM cube that's our ground floor. Well, you can just change the name of that to ground by clicking on it twice. We've got our farmhouse, and we have a player start and lighting, which that's fine. We don't need to worry about that at the moment. We have our world data layers and our partition. All right. Oh, I cannot handle not seeing my mouse. This isn't really a big enough playing space for us. Please feel free to yell and be like, hey, I'm behind or slow up. But we're going to go ahead and change the floor size from 35 to, we're just going to double it, 60 and 70. That gives us some more space to play with. And then we're going to move the house. So if you click on your house, hopefully I got it. We're going to change its location to 4460, 5970, and 975. So it should put it in the back corner from where we're currently at. Unity, when you're doing measurements, units in Unity, there's going to be unit words in that one. They're in meters. So anytime you're looking at it, it's meters per Unity. Unreal is centimeters. So you're always going to work with really big numbers. You're not going to go far, but boy, are the numbers large. All right. So last time I checked, this is not what my backyard looks like for the ground, although it is winter time, so it's not like it's green and pretty, but definitely not to just gray with lines on it. Although that's great, I could turn that off if I wanted to. So what we're going to do, actually, if we come to our starter content, for the moment, we're going to go to materials, and we're going to look for the M ground grass. If we drag that onto our grounds, that's also not really what my grass looks like in my backyard. I mean, okay, there might be days after I haven't mowed for a while where it kind of looks like this, but that's few and far between, thankfully. So if we don't really want that, for this at least, so if we remove that and we right click on the M ground grass, we want to go ahead and edit. And this is where, if you're not used to visual coding, basically, this is all the code through the visual nodes connected by the strings that connect them to make the grass look like this grass. So what we want, this was the deep. So we can close that because that's way too much, and we want to save this just in case we need it for something. So if we close it, right click on it, duplicate, or you could do D for duplicate. We want to change it to, that'll make a copy of it. We'll change it to grass tile. So now we're creating our own material. We can double click on it. Just black magic. If you highlight it, you can do Control D, or you can right click and choose duplicate. Everybody duplicated their grass. Not yet? Okay. So select the grass material, and then you can either do Control D, or you can right click and choose duplicate. So if you click on the original grass one, right click, duplicate, or just click on it, Control D is going to give you another version, which you'll just title M ground grass tile. And then we're going to double click to dive into it. Play with the quote code that is making this material. We're going to end up actually deleting everything but the M ground grass tile. This is the end of that material object. So everything that we do to this is going to get plugged into one of these nodes. That's going to then change that material object for the better or for the worse, depending upon how you play with it and what you're going for. So with this, if you scroll out, it's going to show you way too much, way more than we need. So we're just going to actually select, you can click drag on it all, and we're going to delete everything. Now we have a really cool black texture, which still does not look like my grass, thank God. I have not had an oil slick in my backyard yet. If you right click onto anywhere into the graph, it's going to open up a search bar where you can search for the nodes. We're going to want to search for texture object. So you'll find it under function, texture object. We're going to select that. And then we're going to actually Control D to duplicate it because we need it twice. I'm going to move them over to the side a little bit, give a little bit of room because we're going to put a couple things in here.
You said you right clicked it, right? And then.
Yep, if you just right click anywhere on the material graph.
Okay.
Perfect. And so into the top texture object, we're going to select, we're going to click on that, which now opens it up here in our details. And we want to, instead of default texture, we're going to actually type in grass into our browse. And we want the T ground grass _ D. And then for the other one, we're going to change that. We're going to also click into the texture. We're going to search grass again, but we're going to click the N, T ground, grass underscore N, which is our normals. So this is going to give it some movement to it. You can access more nodes in two ways. You can just do another node, right click on it, type in world align texture. That's the one we want. So we can then build a new node and then connect them by dragging from the out to the in. Or, and we'll do this on the other one, in your textured objects, we can then drag out just from the out node and release, which also just opens it up. For this one, we want world aligned normal. If you do that, it automatically puts in your connection. So as you can see, I didn't have to do anything more. Once again, while we've added quote code to this, it's still black because we haven't actually tied it to the actual material yet. So we want to, on our XYZ texture, out from texture, drag that to our base color, which is getting closer to stuff we care about. And then the XYZ of the normal goes to the normal out. Looking better. If we save this, which is great, I'm going to drop this down. And we drag the new version on. It's sort of better, but it's pretty damn shiny. I mean, I've seen people water their lawns in Idaho this way, where they just turn on the water and just let it flood and say, hey, to hell with it, it's great. So this would be a potential viable option. That's not how we want it. The nice thing is, though, we've got more of a texture. It's now tiled. So if we actually go in and play, it looks a lot more like a lawn. It's still not perfect. We're going to live with not perfect, but it's way better than just one big, huge tile. But we're going to do away with this nice shiny effect because I don't want that either. So if we go back into our tile, we have some changes that we can make here. If we change roughness from 0 to 1, that's going to remove the majority of the mirror. And if we drop the specular to 0, that should get rid of basically the rest of it. So if we once again save, Control S, or click on your disk, and now we bring that back in. Now you can see we're not getting that reflection like we were previously. All right. Everybody to this point, yay, nay? Anybody not at this point yet? Cool. Any questions to this point? Cool. Okay. So, like I said, what we're going to do is we're going to make this first level of our third-person game be a maze. So, we get to make a whole bunch of hedges. The easiest way to do this, I'm going to show you how to make the first one, and then I'm going to put up all the general information on your transform to make it easiest, rather than everybody having to make sure you're going through it right. So let's do the first one, and then we'll make it, I'll put up my list so you can see them all. All right, so into our environment, we are going to add, so in our quickly add to the project drop down, we're going to add a shape that's a cube.
Whoa.
Whew, I know, you got to calm it down. I know that. For this, to once again just make this as quick and easy as possible, if you set the location to 25, 40, 40, 200, we'll keep our rotations at 0, which is nice. But then we scale it to 150 and 4. Oh, actually, we do want to rotate this one 90 on the Y. So this is going to be start making the outside of our walls. So it might just be easiest. Let's do this. We'll just keep trucking with it because I realized otherwise then I'm going to have to catch up. All right. Everybody got wall 1 done. I don't even want to tell you how many we're doing. All right. So if we, like previous, come and click on one of the transforms and we hold the Alt key, drag it off, we get another one. So we can come into this one and set it to 1640. If I can type 1640, 740, and 200. So we're good on that. Still 90 degrees. But we're going to actually make this one only 20. So we should have now a short wall. Please yell out if I'm going too fast or if you need a pause for a moment or you need numbers.
Numbers
for the first one? Yeah. We are at, maybe if I can click on it. 25, 40, 40, 200. And then 90 degree in the blue rotation, which is, I think they count it as X, but it's Y in my head. And then 1 and 50 and 4. Yep. All right, now we can just pull off of this one. Once again, I can't see, so I'll change. Oops, not Shift. Alt. Drag off. We're going to set this one to 3740, 740, which is great because we, oh, not on this one, so 740 and 200. We're keeping the rotation the same, but it's only going to be a 1 and then a 12 in scale. So we're starting to build different paths within. Drag off. Doesn't matter which one you're dragging off because we're just giving you the values. I should do this so I don't lose track of where I am. All right. Now for this one, we're going to do 935, 1450, 200. Still the 90. Our scale, we're only changing, for right now, we're only changing the length scale in this. So this one is going to be 6. So 164. Nice little piece. Sometimes drive me nuts. I can't see it. All right, our next one. Oof, this is going to go for a while. I apologize. Building a maze was probably not the best idea. 2840, 1450, 200, still at the 90, and we are, that's not good. We are for this one 30. So we should have just a little gap between those two. Probably. Do you want to test my anger? Okay. So for the next one,
Didn't just export the map and all?
we're going through this. If you wanted to make a maze, this is how you would do it. 2480.
A painful process.
Good. 2010. This game design is not always fun in games. And 25 in its length. I will post the dimensions of everything after class. All right. Next one, 2480 again. 2850. 200. Yep. 25. So that's good there. Next one, still 2480. This one's going to be 3230. Still the 200. Still the 25. Short maze is not good, so we're just going to keep building this guy out. 3080, 3920, 200, and this is going to be still 25, which is great. Oops, come on.
How many pages of this do you have?
Just one page. All right, next one. 2-point font. Is that okay with you?
That's reasonable.
Okay. 3790, 4450, 200. And this one's going to only be 13 units in length. We're almost made it across for all of this direction. All right. God, I cannot see with this. There we go. Trust me. It just like disappears on my screen. It's just terrible. It is what I get for making you guys do this. That's true. That should be so 1300, 6200, and 13. It's great. Does this one 3790? Okay, perfect. All right, and then we're getting close. Well, we're at least halfway-ish. All right. Last one was 1300, 62, 200, and then 13. Was 13 was in length.
What was the Ziggy?
13, 62, 2. Hold on.
Just click on it.
Yep, if I can. Now I have to be able to click on the next one.
Okay.
All right, and then 1300, 6950, 200, and this will be 26. All right. That puts our outside walls. We've made it through most of it. Although this is not a good maze yet, so let's keep trucking. I'm going to go back to the start. Give myself a little bit of ability to see what I'm doing. Drag off of this one again. For these, we can just change it real quick. Our rotation now is 0, 0, 0. So we're just going to build on our cross pieces. First one is 52, 3,500. Still 200, which is great. But our length, bless you, is 70. Let's go around across the bottom. This one. Oh, I can't see. There we go. Drag off another one. We're at 600, 2,900, and 30 is our length. If this is what it's going to be, I have to figure something out. Okay. I just have to crane my neck to be able to see my cursor. So next one, 600, 5,400, or sorry, 5,540, 40, and a length of 14. $11.80, 80, 1760. That was a good year. Length. It was much less technology. It was great. 6 as our length. Take the little one off. 1180, 3040, and a length of 2. $11.80 again. 46.70. Length of 17. We are getting there. A maze is starting to take form. All right, 1540. 46.70. Length of 17. $18.80. 46.70, or sorry, 47.60. Length of 16. $25.90. 5,100. Length of 14. Oh, haha. $25.90, 6,500, length of 10. Where'd you go? Down there. $27.20, 5,900, length of 2. Nice little piece. All right, 6 more. We're almost done. Whew. 37.80, 24.30, length of 9.4. $37.80, $30.40, length of 2. $43.90, $21.50, length of 15. The first one, that one was $43.90. 3 more. Almost there. All right. $43.90, $35.80, length of 8. $49.90, $22.50, length of 45. I'll get a length this year. And then $12.85, $14.50, $2.52. And this is a 1 by 1, 1.1 by 1, 1.1 by 1 by 3. This fills in this little gap here. Okay. I messed this one up. So what is this one? 37.90, 45. This one that's does not make it a closed-in maze should be 25 width in the length.
We restart from the beginning.
Okay. You want to read any specific ones that anybody needs?
Most of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, basically all of it again.
yeah.
So I will post this. It'll be easier than passing it around.
Yeah, like it's
So-
probably easier than trying to clean up all of it.
Should pass paper one by one.
No, we're not doing that. But we've done enough slow things today. So we have a maze, right? We're gonna have a starting point. And we've got an end point that's going to take us to the door, but currently closed off. Got 2 pieces here that are closed off this section. So there's going to be more to this than just finding your way through.
We kind of find like keys, you know, it's
Well, I decided to be a little bit different than just keys. I did think about that for a while. Not a boss fight, although that's tempting too. What I'm gonna, so if we click on all of our cubes that we just added, almost 30 of them, we want to add the moss to them all. Should go, does it not go? That is sad. Apparently you have to do it one by one. Terrible. Because who's ever heard of a white-walled maze? I'm sure there's somewhere.
Details and change the.
We'll do it in here.
You can, so wherever it says materials, if it says there's multiple, just click into that and you can click it. So.
Where's our materials? Did I already? Oh, there we go.
It says display 2 materials. Click on that. Then you can just click on the top one.
Yeah, very cool. Thank you. So with them selected, bam. I knew there had to be a way. So we can have all of that. So now we've got a nice green maze. We'll move the starting point over to, oh my God, I cannot see. Here. If we play it now, we've got this great little maze at the moment. Got a little hole there, but we can't get out. We're not going to get out today anyway, but we're going to set up for the rest of this. All right. We're going to add another cube. I love cubes, apparently. The first one we're going to do at 1287, 1450, 50. So that places it, let's see, right here in that space, blocks that up. We can then duplicate that one over here. So now we've got 2. And then we're going to add to, God, I cannot see. To the first cube, we're going to add the moss ground texture so that it kind of blends in. Not perfectly, but sort of. To our other one, we'll go ahead and we just add the gravel to it. Because who doesn't like a good square brick of gravel? If you don't own at least 3, you're missing out. Then we can drag off of that one, add another cube. This one we're going to move to 2330, 3040, and a negative 48.5. And we're going to set its size to 2 and 2. So now we have it in the middle here of the blocked up passageway. We'll drag that one off. It's going to go down here to, oh my God. Into this pathway. And drag one more off. And this can go into this passageway. All right, so we are almost done with setting this up for the day. But what we want to do is come to the 2. There we go. Okay. So we've got our 2 cubes here. One of the stone cube and the moss cube. We want to, you can select them both, come into the physics. We want to simulate the physics on these 2 because we're going to want to be able to move them. We want to go down with it to, where are my constraints? Open up constraints under physics. And we're going to lock all rotation of these 2. Then if we select off and then we go back and select just the moss one, we want to go into this and should be in here. Where are you?
Are we locking X, Y, and Z?
X, Y, and Z, just rotation though.
Okay.
Where is my, wait. Simulate physics. Here we go. So under the simulated physics on the Moss cube, we want to check mark on the mass in kilograms. We want to set that to, let's leave it at, is it both 100? We'll leave it at 100. But we'll set the dampening to, linear dampening to 2. And now, what we're setting this up for is a maze that technically does not have a way out of it yet, right? We can come up here. Hey, we see the house. That's cool. That's where I want to go. Turn the corner, but no, I want out. So what we're setting up for this is a system where we're going to be able to come in. The player will have to learn that they can shove the stone one under. Free the moss cube. And then have to figure out the correct pathway to lead the cube without it getting stuck across. Let's go. In the right order to unlock each side by pushing it over the larger stone cubes in the floor, which will require coding. We're just building the environment today. Questions? It worked as I thought it would work. Yeah.
You report it.
I did.
All right.
Yeah, you took a nap in the middle of class.
No, I didn't take a nap. I took a shot.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So I'm going to post this, but I'm also going to post the list of all the dimensions that you need to go with. Let me actually stop.